Hello, and welcome to Think in the Circle. This talk was brought to you by Wolfie and I whilst walking in the woods. But what we're going to be talking about is how to tackle those terrible feelings when the imposter syndrome hits you. Very quickly. Number one, acknowledge your feelings, recognize you're not alone, talk about it, create success symbols, reframe your thoughts, go on a walk or a run, listen to music, embrace your failures, stop comparing, and get a mentor or a reverse mentor. And of course, at the very end, think about professional help. That and a little bit more coming to you right now.
There he is, marking his territory again. Go, Mr. Wolfie. I was thinking today maybe we can talk a little bit about imposter syndrome. It turns around that a very high proportion of PhD doctoral students suffer from it. And if you're one of them, just remember that academics also suffer from it. Because it turns out that we're highly self-critical. In some areas, 50% or just over 50% of doctoral students will have issues with imposter syndrome. And if you're asking, well, Yanis, have you had that? And the answer is yes. And it never goes away. It comes in bouts when you least expect it. So all you can do is read as much as you can about it to understand where it comes from. Hey, Wolfie? Do you suffer from imposter syndrome? No, Wolfie is suffering from the opposite of imposter syndrome, which is the dunning-kruger effect, where somebody has too much confidence but not the skills. Wolfie here has too much confidence in catching squirrels, believes in his skills, but never once in his life has he managed to catch one. You came close once, and I was terrified, but luckily the squirrel escaped, so everything was okay. Let's go back to imposter syndrome. Oh, look at this little guy flying there. Okay, so there are apparently certain personality types that might be a little bit more susceptible to imposter syndrome, but the fact is, if you are into projects or jobs that are highly intellectual, you're even more likely to fall into that trap. Why do I call it a trap? Because effectively the imposter syndrome is a mechanism that we have trying to block our self-success. Just remember, whenever it happens, in my experience at least, it happens when you're in a phase of self-discovery where you might be doing something that might just be slightly outside your skill set. But then again, that's how skill sets grow, guys. That's why, you try to do 10 push-ups and today you struggle with 9, but a few weeks time 20 isn't even an issue. So think of the physical skills and how we get better, and the same can be true with intellectual. Especially in the PhD, you are in a continuous adventure of self-discovery, literature discovery, methodological discovery. Hey, Wolfie? Just don't let it paralyze you, or don't let it go to extremes where you think that the best answer to it is trying to please everybody and do exactly what your supervisor says is one example. Well, your supervisors want you to be more critical, to think and stand on your own 2 feet and to defend your thesis. That's what it's all about. You are constantly defending your thesis, your positionality, your choices. You are in a team, but you are the leader of that team. I have fallen back into talking about PhDs. I don't know why, but here we are again in the beautiful meadow flowers. Let's think about them. Do they have imposter syndrome? Do they think today I bloom too much? No, there are seasons. You know, they're going to last for a while, and then they're going to go underground again, and they're going to wait for the next time to bloom. So don't destroy your moment of bloom by thinking you do not deserve it. You deserve every second of it. Now, what can you do to stop making yourself believe you're not deserving it? Is to talk to others as well. So use your research skills, talk to others, share the pain. A burden shared is a burden halved, is what they say, and misery likes company. So I'm pretty sure you'll find plenty of others in your group of PhD students that have at some point in their PhD trip faced imposter syndrome. So doesn't have to be just a PhD. It could be any part of your career. Maybe you have finished a PhD, you're a new academic, or maybe you got that new promotion and you're thinking, do I really deserve it? Well, the answer is yes, you deserve it, because at the end of the day, how many managed to get that promotion? You must have done something right, being at the right place at the right time with the right skill set to get that promotion. And luck is a misconception, right? If you think, oh, I got lucky, no. We create conditions for luck. There is something that we cannot measure and we call it luck. But we create the conditions for it by training ourselves to be ready for when the planets align and it's our time to be successful. So stay strong, stay proud, walk with your head high, and don't let anybody tell you that you do not deserve your own successes. Wolfie, you agree? Yes.
So I hope you enjoyed that little walk with Wolfie and I in the woods. But let's go back to the tips of overcoming those imposter syndrome blues. Number 1, acknowledge your feelings. The first step to overcoming imposter syndrome is to acknowledge your feelings. Understand and accept that it is normal to feel this way. There's a lot of examples of successful people, high achievers that have at some point in their career felt the effects of imposter syndrome. It's okay as long as you do something about it. The second tip is to recognize that you are not alone. You have friends, you have family. Remember that there are people there that are going to support you. And that's going to help you consider step 3, which is talking about it. Talking about your feelings can be very liberating. You share your thoughts with a trusted friend or a family member, and you find that a burden shared is a burden halved. The next tip is to create success symbols. You could write a success journal. You could be having, if you have degrees, you could be having your degrees up on your wall in a place where you can see them. You could have photos of trips taken. Find your way of reminding yourself that there are moments in your life where you have been incredibly successful in one way or another. It doesn't have to be only in the professional sector. It could be in your normal life. It could be in your vacation. Make sure that you remind yourself, be kind to yourself, and remind yourself that you're good. The 5th tip is all about reframing your thoughts. So when you have negative thoughts, you got to cut yourself, which is the same I say when you talk negatively about others, cut yourself, stop yourself, and reframe your thoughts. So in this case, instead of talking negatively about others, in your mind, you're talking negatively about yourself. So instead of you're saying, I'm not good enough, or instead of putting yourself down, just say, okay, I'm not going to be bully of myself. And I'm going to think of positive things and reframe what you're thinking at that moment and say, I can do this. Yeah, all I have to do is try harder, plan, deliver, action. go. What mindset you choose can make a huge difference in your daily life. My sixth tip is very important. Go on a walk or a run. If you are lucky enough to have a sea or river, bodies of water near you, or woods, forest, anything in nature will do wonders. Just take a long walk and then consider your thoughts. If you're having negative thoughts, as we said in the tip earlier, deal with those thoughts by reframing them into positive thoughts. You'll find that if you go on a walk or a run, your whole balance, your whole hormonal balance starts changing. And that is very, very helpful for when you're having enough energy when you're having negative thoughts to battle those negative thoughts. My seventh tip is not to forget to listen to music and choose your music at different mood settings. Music can be a very, very powerful tool. Put your headphones on in a safe environment. When I walk, sometimes I will listen to the birds. If I'm lucky enough to have, I am lucky enough to have the woods around, and we do a lot of walks with Wolfie. But sometimes I will put music, and if I'm feeling a little bit low, I will choose specific upbeat music that works for me. The eighth tip that I have is to consider embracing failure. I've said this to some of my other videos that to me, failure is the cousin to success. You have to consider that failure is natural. It's part of growing. If you fail and you don't learn, then it's an issue, okay? But if you fail and you make a lesson out of it, then you realize that I shouldn't be afraid of failure. Quite often we stop ourselves from doing something because what if I fail? Well, by not trying, you have already failed, and you have failed in a way that you're not learning. So use the failure as a launch pad to success, okay? Move forward, little steps, all the time. My ninth tip is about comparing with others, comparing your life with other people. And social media are incredibly bad in allowing us to do that. And the younger generation seem to be comparing themselves to someone else all the time. Stop comparing your life to other people's life. Remember, what you see on social media is not always the truth. People like to simply keep on sharing the good news. We don't share some of the more concerning news. And also, your life is your own. You walk your own path. Compare yourself to your older self. Do not compare yourself to others. As long as you move forward and you keep on improving, that's a good thing. Okay. And my penultimate tip is to get a mentor. And also don't forget that you could get a reverse mentor. So don't think a mentor has to be somebody older. It could be somebody younger who has a little bit more knowledge in some areas. And simply by that interaction, you gain in energy. And sometimes they ground you. And sometimes when you think you're not good enough in certain areas, they might show you or even tell you how good you are, and you haven't realized it. And the final tip is always, if you aren't feeling very well, if this is very serious, if it's really impacting your life, then go and talk to a professional. You can get therapies, you can get hypnotherapy, you can get thalassotherapy, you can get all this amazing stuff that help your well-being these days. Remember, science is very back when it comes to mental health, okay? We are a little bit better when it comes to the health of our body. We're not very good at mental health, but we are making some really good steps. There is no shame in asking for help when you need it, okay? If you go to the gym, you ask for a specialist to show you how to use the equipment. Yeah, you need a specialist sometimes to help you become better. That's it from me. Good luck. And remember, little step forward is still a step forward. Good luck.
Inspirational.
Ah! That's still recording, so we got you in there.
You can add that.
Eh?
You can actually...
Why not? Bloopers. Say it again. Okay.
No! You weren't recording, were you?
What?
You weren't recording.
The recording what?
Nice one.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello and welcome to Think in the Circle, right from the Bahamas. Just kidding.